Hi friends, so today I'm making dinner at home. I've made some chicken and shrimp, jumbo pasta shells, as well as some lobster tails and some green beans that I've sauteed over the stove. And I'm going to share how I made this, and you can do the same thing in your homes too. So first I'm going to start off with boiling some water, and I'm adding the jumbo shells, and this is Barilla. I'm going to add only half of the box because I'm making this for two people, myself and my husband, but this will be like some leftovers too. So while that's boiling, I'm going to be boiling that for about 7 minutes. I'm going to get my chicken ready. So I had actually bought some chicken breasts that were already cut up, so I didn't have to do anything extra. However, this is basically 1 pound of chicken breast. So if you do have that, just dice that up and add your favorite all-purpose seasoning. I like to use the Reber's Kickin' Chicken for my chicken breast. So I'm adding this to the pan. The pan has some olive oil in there, and I'm just going to sear this chicken breast and cook it all the way through until it is brown. And while this is cooking, I'm going to check on my jumbo pasta shells, and they're pretty much almost done. I'm just checking on them. I don't want them to be like super duper done, like, so that it's loose or anything. I want to be able to still be able to pick up the shells and stuff them. So I'm going to turn off the stove. This has actually been like about 5 minutes. So I'm going to turn off the stove, and I'm going to start adding these to a bowl so they can start cooling off. So I'm going to check on these chicken breasts, and it looks as though that it's almost done, but I'm going to let it continue to cook for about another 5 minutes. While that's happening, I'm going to start working on my shrimp. So I've already rinse these shrimp off. I've dried them. I patted it down with a paper towel so I can squeeze all the water out. And then I'm going to let them sit a little bit, and I'm going to add some Cajun seasoning to my shrimp. And I'm just going to let that sit for about 5 minutes before adding it to a pan. And I'm going to use the same pan that I cooked the chicken breast in. It has some good seasoning in this pan already, so I'm just going to add those shrimp directly into there. And because these shrimp are going to continue cooking while they are in the casserole dish later, when it's baking in the oven, I'm only going to sear these shrimp for about 3 minutes on each side. So now that these shrimp are done and they're sitting nice and pretty, I'm going to add them into a separate bowl. And then I'm going to start getting the Cajun Alfredo sauce ready for the pasta. So I'm going to start off by, again, using the same pan that I had before, and I've added 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. And I'm going to also use some sun-dried tomatoes. And with the sun-dried tomatoes, I took out about 3 of those, and I just cut those into strips. And I'm just going to add those into the pan, as well as a little bit of the oil that's within the jar of sun-dried tomatoes. So next I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon each of chicken bouillon, Cajun seasoning, smoked paprika, as well as some red pepper flakes. And what I did not show on camera is that I did add in 1 tablespoon of flour, and that's just going to help make the sauce thicken up later during the next steps. So I also added in 1/4 cups of white wine, and I also added in 1 cup of water, as well as 1 cup of heavy cream and 1 cup of milk. So my next step is to add in the juice of half of a lemon, as well as some Parmesan Asiago cheese. That's about half a cup. And I'm also adding in some parsley, as well as about 1 teaspoon of lemon zest. So I'm going to let this sauce thicken. It's going to take about 7 to 10 minutes if you're cooking on a medium-low heat. And while that is happening, I'm going to start prepping my chicken so that I can stuff the shells. So I've added about maybe a fourth to a half a cup of regular mild cheddar cheese as well as some white cheddar cheese. I'm going to stir all of that up. And basically what I want to do is be able to spoon the chicken breast into the jumbo shells. Now that the sauce is ready, I'm going to add half of that sauce onto the bottom of a cast iron skillet. You could use like a 9 by 13 casserole dish, but I'm going to use this cast iron skillet. And I'm going to start placing the jumbo shells into the bottom of that skillet until it's all done. I'm going to top that with the shrimp that I was cooking earlier. And then I'm going to pour the remaining half of that sauce on top of the pasta shells with the shrimp. And I'm going to top this sauce with some cheddar cheese as well as some white cheddar cheese. And I'm going to also add some of that Parmesan and Asiago cheese that I had earlier. And this is going to bake in the oven at 425 degrees Fahrenheit for approximately 20 to 25 minutes. You want to check on it while it's baking just to make sure that the cheese doesn't burn. You just want to get a nice brown crust over it, but you don't want your cheese to burn. While that is baking, I'm going to prep my lobster tails. So I've split them in half and I'm adding the Old Bay Cajun seasoning as well as lemon pepper. I'm just sprinkling a little bit of each. I am not measuring this. I also added the Key West Island Grill seasoning as well as some butter and a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to bake that in the oven. I'm going to use the rack that's above the pasta. I'm going to bake that in the oven, same temperature of course, for 15 to 20 minutes. You just want to make sure that you have a nice golden like crust over your lobster tails, and you want to make sure that your shells are like a bright orange reddish color. So the very last thing that I am making is some veggies. I'm going to saute some green beans that these are fresh green beans that I've gotten from the store. So I'm going to start off by adding 1 tablespoon of minced garlic as well as 2 tablespoons of butter and 1 teaspoon of chicken bouillon. I'm going to toss in the green beans and let those cook on medium heat for about 5 to 7 minutes or until they're crisp and still done. And then I'm going to top that with some red pepper flakes just to add some color as well as a little heat to the green beans. And that's pretty much it. Checking in on the rest of the food, the lobster tails are done. They look great. They tasted great. And the jumbo pasta shells were delicious too. I wish I could have had picked up each individual pasta shell, you know, with all the stuffing still inside of it. I even let this dish like cool off for about 30 minutes before picking it up. But, you know, as you can see, it's still very hot and I'm unable to like pick up each shell, but that's okay. Everything still landed on the plate. I had all the shells, I had the chicken, the sauce, the shrimp. So, you know, everything was still looking good on my plate and I was able to eat everything and enjoy. So I hope you had as much fun watching this video as much as I did making a recap of it. I'll have the full recipe in the video description. Be sure to subscribe to this channel to see more content like this. Also, don't forget to like and share the video with your friends. You can also leave a comment. It's always great to hear from you. See you on the next one.